Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. Hopefully it doesn't decide to rain on this this live stream. If it does, we might have to cancel it. But yeah, we're shooting from a different spot today. We're closer to the target. I'm working on my front hand and holding my shoulder, and I don't want to do that from 70 just yet. That might be like tomorrow's live stream, depending on the weather. Everybody seems to be really liking the video I put up of Brady shooting. I have a few more videos, not of Brady, but of other archers that I'm putting together. So hopefully people will enjoy watching those as well. Hello everybody, welcome to the live stream. Got a whole bunch more people on. Yep, short distance today. I'm gonna move back a little bit, and you can see my front hand a little bit better. How's everybody doing today? Just got back from the SoCal Showdown. What was it? Today's day 2 back at home. But yesterday I was up at my coach's place, and we were working on my front hand and my shoulder. So, the reason we're working on this is because what I was having a tendency of doing is, instead of just shooting the shot and the bow going forward out of my hand and down, what I would do is I would kind of grab the bow and then I would actually go backwards with my shot. It wasn't really noticeable with the bow, with the finger sling attached and everything else. But when we took off the finger sling and my coach was just catching the bow, I had a major issue of like going straight up. Like the bow would drop, and then my whole back half of my body would go back away from the target, and my front arm would just go way up. So I was very unbalanced in how I was, shooting the bow, but it was causing a lot of other problems because I was still, my shoulder was still not always holding that well every shot, and there were some other things. And if you watch some of the other live streams, that's definitely been brought up. So this should help improve that. And overall, so far, I feel really good about it. I feel like I am a lot more balanced. I feel like I have a lot more control over my shot. So yeah, that's why we're up close here practicing, so that I can work on that and become really proficient at it. Hopefully tomorrow we can move back to 70. No, I do not shoot compound. I've tried a couple times. not really recently, and not in like the most like suitable environment. It was more like somebody hands you a bow. Oh, try to shoot this. It's not. I need a little more instruction. I've only shot like a compound 2 to 3 times in my entire life. So yeah, you wouldn't just hand somebody an Olympic recurve and say, shoot this. It's the same thing with a compound. I don't care if there's a release and things to it. You still have to have, somebody should explain to you, if they're not just, if they want you to succeed or at least enjoy trying to shoot it, they got to explain to you some basics, not just like, here's my bow and here's a release, shoot this thing. The result is not like pleasant, and if anything, it's kind of weird because it's like, are they just using it for their own entertainment of watching you fail? I'm not sure, but yeah, I've only done it like 3 times. Not quite. So I've been really good at doing one of 2 things. Either I'll hold my bow arm really well, but my hand won't drop down. Just my front hand won't just relax when I shoot, and my arm just hold there. Or I'll get both at the same time, which is what I want. So basically what I'm looking for here is I'm going to shoot my shot, my bow arm is going to hold in a pretty much the same position, and my hand is just going to go relax and go down because of the weight of the bow, because it's attached to the bow with the finger sling. And it should do something like this, sort of. And it'll be very quick, it'll be very fluid, and it's actually really easy to do once you learn that you don't need to be putting so much, I guess, tension in your front hand that winds up causing you to like kind of grab your bow, or at least slow down it leaving your hand. I don't quite have the best way to explain it yet, but I'm sure in time I'll have a much better way of explaining this. Yeah, that was pretty good. So is anybody keeping track of what's going on at the World Cup? I know it's in Salt Lake. I know the wind there has been really, really bad, or at least that's what it seemed like from like unofficial and official practice days, and then even into. I heard the qualification day was pretty windy as well. So I'm curious on what are other people's thoughts on this. I feel like it's going pretty well. Maybe not the best, not grabbing the bow and, holding my arm, but it's definitely an improvement on where I was. The added bonus of this is there's a slight delay, of course, on every live stream, and I can actually see my previous shots. So if you see me looking down a lot, that's because the laptop's down here. I also can read your questions and things as well if you have any comments or just want to talk about something. All right, gonna go down and pull some arrows, and I'll be right back. All right, back for another end. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I feel like I kind of moved some on that one. See, the next big tournament for me is going to be Nationals. That's beginning of August. So anybody going out for the USA Nationals? It's in Ohio. That was better. There we go. It's coming along. It's kind of like last week, or the week before. Anyway, I was working on like my drawing hand and everything the week before, and you know, usually the day after getting an archery lesson, it's a little slow. So I should really start making some nice progress with this. I would say over the next like 2 days or so. Tomorrow and the next day should definitely be a pretty good improvement over today. Today's not going bad by any means, but it'll be nice to get back to 70 meters instead of just sitting at, it's probably a little less than 18, but that's not really the point. It's about the form. What's going on with the sound? I don't know, let me see. At least on my end, everything seems all right. But is it loud? What are you guys receiving on your end? Because the sound, like the settings and everything, it looks like are all the same from, you know, they haven't changed from the other live streams. So yeah, let me know. I'll see if I can adjust something to make it better. Oh, okay. The video and the sound are out of sync. I don't know if there's too much I can do with that. That's gonna be it's gonna be like a network thing, like because this is going over Wi-Fi right now. So maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. Let me see what I can do. I'm gonna go pick up arrows. All right, I'm back. All right, we'll see if this works. Technically, like, this should be running fine. I'm actually closer to my wireless router from this location than I am when I shoot 70, because my house is in between. But I don't know. Might have. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the video series of the top archers. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. It's just hard getting content for that sometimes. Let's see, 8 to 9 second delay on the audio. All right. I might really have to work on getting this set up so that it's just wired, and maybe that'll eliminate some more issues. Because it has to be. I would think it would have to be related to, you know, the Wi-Fi problem, because I don't see how there could be an issue with how the camera is set up to the laptop here, because that's pretty straightforward, and it seems to be, you know, taking all the video and audio from the camera and then sending it to like YouTube and stuff without a problem. So I'm guessing it's probably my internet connection that's really causing the issue. So I would say hopefully it fixes itself, but I'll definitely work on it and work on trying to improve it after this live stream between the rest of today and tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be fixed by tomorrow's live stream, but I could always try another camera it's a little more basic on its audio and visual aspects. Or I could try that after this end too. Let me see what I can do. It's kind of coming out of my hand. We're working on it. Yeah. Well, I should probably take a step back. You know what's one thing that's really interesting with doing this, since I never really had, or I never properly like released, or I didn't grip my bow, because the release is back here. But the one thing it's interesting about making sure I'm holding my bow arm right, and then making sure my hand just kind of relaxes in the front when the bow shoots. It really drives like the shot towards the target. It's really interesting, and I guess because before I wasn't holding my bow arm well, and not that I was necessarily gripping the bow, but my hand was definitely grabbing it some, like right after I shot, that it really seemed to slow down the whole feeling of the shot, and it definitely didn't make the shot feel as direct, like as I was like, it didn't give me a sense that I was like, you know, arrow was heading to where I was aiming. And now that I'm not really grabbing the bow so much when I shoot, and it's coming off out of this front hand a lot smoother, I really feel like I'm really directing the arrow down to the target. And it's really interesting. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but like that's my experience so far, and I'm really happy with that, because it feels even better when I'm shooting these shots. it's getting there. I can feel, I feel like I can improve, like a bit more with it. But I know, and I feel like it's so much better than where it was. But I definitely there's some improvement that needs to be done, and not quite there yet. Gotta practice some more. All right, so there was that end's done. Gonna get a drink and then pick up some arrows down that way, and I'll be back. All right, I made it back. I think I'm standing in the right spot. Sound like something big. Huh. Anyway, I think there's a deer or something behind the camera. Not like right behind the camera, but a little in the distance. Something big just moved. But bear shows up, I'll let you know. You guys will know. I'm going the other way, you know. You guys, I'll leave you guys out here. You're safe. Not quite. Not quite on that one. Yeah. This front hand could have been a little bit better, but yeah, that's what I'm looking for. In a way, it's almost like making sure that you put all your the faith of your shot into knowing that, okay, front part of your body, bow arm and everything, you're just gonna hold, and then it's just like, okay, the back and this whole arm is just gonna do its thing and it's gonna shoot the shot. At least I don't know, that's where I'm at right now. And I feel like when I put more, and I guess we'd use like faith into it, when I trust that I am capable of doing that, I feel like I shoot such better shots, and the bow comes out of my front hand nicer and does what it's supposed to do. And I don't know, that's something something I guess I've been missing. Another thing I like to do is I'll just go like straight down at my hand, and then my stabilizer comes like right back at me, and it's not cool because it needs to go a little to the side. You know, not too much. I don't want to hit the other guy next to me. I'm not trying to do any kind of bo-jitsu here. But yeah, that's another thing that I realized that I was really poor at, is that I would go back and smack myself where it needs to go, just a little bit to the side. Go like right over here, while holding that bow arm. I know this has been a little bit like repetitive today, but I do feel like maybe this will help somebody out. And this is just honestly what I'm working on, and will be working on for, you know, duration of this week. Yeah, sorta. Bow kind of came at me still. Yeah. Huh, there we go. The funny thing too is my shots are, I feel like they're a lot quicker with this. Like unless I'm doing something strange, but I don't know if it's allowing me to get in, like getting into like alignment or whatever a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just making quicker, crisper shots. I've shot with my eyes closed. Blindfolded, no. I have not tried actually being blindfolded. But yeah, I've done it with my eyes closed. It's not bad at all. And yeah, you definitely get a new feel because it takes the eyes out of the situation, and you can just see what's going on. See, that one was my eyes closed. It went pretty well. But yeah, no, definitely. I don't do that all the time. Occasionally, but yeah, that was something I used to do a lot more when I was younger, and I had coaches trying to help me understand, you know, how the shot should feel, you know, that way. For me, I really just like a more hands-on. Like, if I'm having a problem with how I'm like setting up, you know, the shot on my face, then I don't mind if like my coach or whoever is gonna show like on himself where he's, you know, here, Anthony, and then like even moving my hand, you know, not with a bow or anything, and just like, so you place it, you know, here, so you feel how that, you know, feels. And like for some people that doesn't work, and I totally understand that, but for me it is so helpful having somebody that's willing to explain and show you like how, you know, how a certain like group of muscles, or what muscles, you know, what it's supposed to be doing during the shot. And of course everybody's a little bit different, but at least that way you can get a feel for you know, how to shoot, and then hopefully you'll shoot better. All right, I'll be right back. Gotta go pick up some arrows. Yeah, I think working on this front arm and stuff is really stopping me drifting back. And I think it was just, it was like I explained earlier. Before, so at my lesson, we took off the finger sling. My coach was catching the bow. And what I was doing is when I would shoot, I would actually kind of grab my bow, and I wouldn't drop this hand any further than right here. And then I would also go up with the shot, which is really strange, but it was like an up and back. And yeah, that that was not helpful. And you know, at the time I felt it was fine because the weight of the bow was kind of offsetting some of that, but not really. And that's also how I was getting like really crunched up kind of and then moving back as I shoot. And now this is fixing that because I got to hold the front here nice and nice and strong, and then just relax that hand so the bow wants to go forward cleanly out of my hand. And yeah, I feel like, you know, maybe I move back just a little bit, but it's way better than where it was, and I'm gonna keep making progress to that, or at least that's my intention. Let's see, instant replay. I don't know, it looked pretty good on the replay. I felt like my finger up here slipped some. Like I didn't maintain the same amount of tension all the time. Little things. Mm. Oh, if, yeah, if you've seen what I just did before, we had a lot of bugs out here in the woods, mosquitoes, a lot of biting flies and things like that. So if I suddenly like stop what I'm doing and then go and either like hit myself or like I'm like doing weird moves, it's probably because something's eating me alive. And yeah, I'm not that crazy. Only a little crazy, just a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So that's what's going on there. If anybody's curious. No, it's not my imaginary friends. Nope. Oh, that was quick. That was very quick. Pretty good. So how's everybody else doing today? Anybody else working on anything in particular with their shooting this week, this day, this month? Anybody interested in any of the things going on at the World Cup? Who do you think will who will get their spot for, well, I'm more interested in the recurve divisions. Do you think Brady is going to win gold so he qualifies for the final? Do you think it's going to be somebody else? Do you think, I haven't kept track of the qualification, so hopefully I'm not wrong. Is Mackenzie going to pull it off? Like, who do you think it's going to be? I'm curious if anybody is interested in sharing their opinion on that. That was pretty good. All right, so that was all my arrows. I'm gonna go and pick them up now, and then I'll be back and we'll shoot some more. All right, I'm back. And I was looking into the delay, if there is still one. That should pretty much be on YouTube. YouTube should be causing, or it's their fault that there's a delay between the video and the audio. Because yeah, everything's good on my side. Even my Wi-Fi signal is really consistent and strong. So really sorry about that, because that's kinda, it's out of my control, at least at this point. Alright, let's try this again. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that one popped pretty well. Let's see, let's watch the instant replay. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We're working on it. anybody's curious on what's going on here, and for anybody that's new, this is the Sure Shot Archery live stream. We kind of just chat and hang out while I practice. And right now we're at like 18 meters or so, doing some form stuff, but hopefully tomorrow we'll be back at 70 meters. I try to do this every single day, as long as it doesn't rain. And of course I'm, home, because if I'm at a tournament or something, kind of hard to do, at least at this point. That would be cool to do in the future, but I also got to work around like rule things too. But anyway, I try to do it every day at home, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, somewhere around there. Sometimes I'm a little early, sometimes I'm a little late. So yeah, if you're free and just want to watch some archery and just maybe talk some archery like we've been doing here today, then yeah, stop by. 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Right. All right, that went pretty well. Still got a pretty good amount of people watching. Let's see what time it's. My laptop's still set for Pacific time. 1:24. All right, let's try, and I'm gonna shoot one more end, and then we'll probably wrap up the live stream from there. So if anybody has any comments, questions, anything about archery, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll answer them when I get back and as I shoot this next end. But first I need some arrows, so I'm gonna go down and pick up those arrows. All right, let's see who's still in this. I have the World Cup head-to-head matches up. Brady still has a bye. And wow, they have been busy over there at the World Cup. Let's see. While the U.S. shooters are knocked out, looks like. Okay, so they're in the semi-finals now. Let's see. There's a Ryan Tyak. I probably got his last name wrong. Looks like Australia and versus Nespoli from Italy, and then let's see, Steve Weiler from the Netherlands against Thomas from France. I'm not gonna say Thomas's name because I'll definitely butcher that. Anyway, yeah. So Ryan and Nespoli going against each other. See who goes to the bronze or the gold, and same thing with Steve and Thomas. So I guess we'll have to stay tuned on that. I wonder what the women are up to. Semifinals. All right, Gabriella. She's the new shooter for the Netherlands. I believe she used to shoot for Mexico. Deepika is from India. So those two are going to go against each other and see who goes to what medal match there. And then we have Michelle from Germany and Tanya Ting from Chinese Taipei. So pretty cool. I guess we'll have to wait and see the results for that and see who gets into what match. But yeah, looks like the World Cup's progressing pretty steadily. Yes, yeah. So there's a lot of factors in choosing the proper spine and stuff for your bow. Basically, I don't know. Probably the best way to go about it would be to go and if you're looking for a particular brand like Easton or Carbon Express, all those major companies have some kind of like chart, and that's probably the best way to get a basic idea of what's going on. Like, ooh, do I need should I go for this spine? Is it gonna be a little too stiff for me? Ooh, is this one gonna be a little too weak? Other than that, it was funny. If you're part of a club, sometimes you could just pick up if somebody has a similar draw length to you, and they also draw a similar weight bow. You could literally just try their arrows at like I would say 30 meters or less, and just see how the Fletch and the Bear shafts group. Other than that, Lancaster Archery could probably be pretty good at helping you out. I've ordered arrows through them, but I've never asked them about what size I should order, because I've always had a pretty good idea. But that was because I've messed up ordering arrow sizes and things so many times that you learn fast. But of course, you really don't want to have to do that, and you don't want to have to spend all that money. So let's see. The Easton one is probably not the easiest to follow, but they have a lot of information on it, and it's the one I'm most familiar with. I'm sure Carbon Express is probably doing the same thing, but basically read through all their information, like how they're measuring like the length of an arrow. Some, or I guess most companies should do it this way, but it's generally from the throat of the nock to the end of the carbon, not the end of the point. At least that's how I believe Easton does it. If they've changed it, double check. But I believe Easton goes by throat of nock to the end of the carbon is the length of your arrow. They don't count in the point, and I guess that's because it's not really, it's part of the arrow, but it can change because you can get tungsten points, you can get stainless steel that are much longer, and the amount of weight in them can change. So it's really more one of those variables that helps you tune the arrow, uh, and it's not really the arrow shaft itself. You know. So yeah, I would definitely read all the information those companies have in relation to those arrows. So if you want Easton arrows, read what Easton has to say about measuring your arrows and your draw length and things like that, and then go and plug those numbers into their chart, and it should give you a fairly accurate reading. And maybe you could go and double check that with, like, if you're going to order through Lancaster, it might be worth calling up their pro shop. Maybe they can give you some information on that, or your own coach should have a fairly good idea, or a local archery shop that you go to, possibly. It may be a little odd if they don't really dabble in Olympic recurve, because I know a lot of archery shops are really compound centric, and actually more so hunting compound centric, because that's where most of the money is. So they may not have a clue if it comes to like ACC. Well, they might have ACC, like ACEs or X10s. They probably don't have an idea on what spine is going to work for you. So you're just gonna have to do some legwork and read up on it. And then, like, if you have friends that shoot and you know that their bows, their arrows are fairly well tuned to their bow, and they're about the same size as you, and they draw about the same weight. That's always a good way to compare your findings, or just shoot their arrows if they're cool with you doing that at, like, probably 30 meters is the best, but you could do it at 18 just to be safe. Yeah. So cutting your arrow to a certain length is gonna vary. So adding more point weight is going to make your arrow weaker. Now, sometimes if you have your arrows a little long, you may need a lighter point weight because you don't want to weaken them too much. Or if they're long but the arrow is still very stiff because the shaft is thicker, then you may want more point weight. There is a lot of variables, but once you start understanding the overall concept, it makes more sense. Like my arrows here, they're out pretty far. But if I were to cut them shorter with these 120 grain points I have in them, the arrow is going to be too stiff. I would need even heavier points in order for the arrow to be less stiff. Because you don't want an arrow that's too weak, and you don't want an arrow that's too stiff. You want to be somewhere about in the middle. And you have a plunger to help adjust that, to give you more, because you can adjust the plunger's tension to give you more leadway, and if your arrow is a little too stiff or too weak. And you can also adjust your bow's weight if your arrow is too stiff or too weak. I know, I really need to put up a full video, it'll be a series of videos about this, and I'm actually pretty free. I don't have a major tournament until August, so maybe that's something I could work on. Like, I know I've talked about doing this before, and I run into a time constraint, because a lot of things come up, and something like tuning and setting up arrows and stuff like that is not something that I want to do like halfway on. It's either going to be done right, or I'm not going to do it at all, because I don't want to mislead people or put out bad information. But I feel like I'm pretty good, like on the tuning department and things like that. My coach that shot in Korea was very happy with how I set up my bow. I've seen Coach Kim, and he was very happy with how I had my bow set up. And we talked about things like that. I've had other coaches look at my equipment and say that oh, your equipment's set up great. So I do feel very confident in my ability to tune a bow. It's just a matter of putting out the video so that it's easy to follow, but at the same point in time, we're not missing any information, because I want everybody to have, everything they need to be successful, or at least as successful as me in the tuning department. And then you can go from there. Like if you get additional information, that's something that I didn't cover, then at least you have a basis to grow on and grow from. Yeah, my hand's not going forward as well as it was before. All right, so we got 2 more arrows. We're gonna wrap it up after this. Really great questions and stuff from everybody. I really enjoyed, sharing this time with you. Maybe we could do this again tomorrow. I'm on pretty much every day at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, unless it rains or something else crazy happens. Nope. Been shooting a lot of arrows, so getting a little tired. And I want to be doing, what I'm working on correctly. So, yeah. All right, that was a pretty good way to end it. I think that went pretty well. So yep, thank you for watching. I really enjoyed doing this live stream with everybody. Great questions. If you got more questions, you can save them for tomorrow or for another live stream. It's always going to be more. With that, again, thank you so much. And as always, happy shooting, and I'll see you guys next time.